Hello, welcome once again to Mandela Unveiled. The name is Mandela. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and we will discuss whatever issue you want us to discuss. On this channel, we discuss everything health. We take the bits and pieces of society, be it political, social, environmental, whatever issues that they are, to let you understand how each issue affects your health. Today we're going to talk about power outage, power rationing, electricity, and its impact on your health. Whenever we have power outages or power rationing or load shedding, in Ghana it is popularly called dumso. People talk about its impacts on the economy. People talk about its impact on so many things. But one area that hardly gets talking of, it's the impact on health, on your health. You know, we have power outages everywhere in the world. However, some power outages are just a one-off thing. For instance, in 2003, it was estimated that about 28% of accidental and unintended deaths in the United States were related to power outages. And these are power outages that resulted from probably bad winter weather conditions, like probably cyclones. Yes, this could result in that. But with Africa, the situation is different. The situation is intentional. The situation is wickedness. The situation is, you can describe and use whatever word you want to use for it. The electricity situation in Africa is even dire. According to the International Energy Agency, about 600 million Africans are without electricity. Access to electricity, 600 million. And when you come to sub-Saharan Africa, 590 million people in sub-Saharan Africa do not have access to electricity. And when we talk about Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, sub-Saharan Africa are the countries below the Sahara. So invariably, it means that countries like Libya, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, they do not fall under sub-Saharan Africa. So it means that all these countries combined, only 10 million people do not have access to electricity. However, the sub-Saharan African countries, 590 million. That is ridiculous. And on top of this, Africans do not have access to electricity. And even when they have access, the electricity gets taken away from them. This is wickedness. And sometimes it is just sheer buffoonery. In Ghana, for instance, power outages have occurred in the 1980s, 1990s, in 2006 to 7, and 2012 to 2015. And during this period, the 2012 to 2015 period, whenever power was out for 2 hours, people who visited the hospital had a 43% increased chance of dying. So that means during that period, you can imagine the number of people who died because There was no power. Nobody talked about this. In South Africa, the situation has become worse. South Africa's electricity problem has also dates back, and no one seems to solve it. In fact, Nigeria is another country that is struggling with power. So you see, in Africa, the power situation cuts across. Nigeria is supposed to produce 30,000 megawatts. But guess, Nigeria produces about 3,000 to 4,000 megawatts. Zimbabwe is supposed to produce about 1,050 megawatts. Zimbabwe produces only 300 megawatts of electricity. Nigeria's access to electricity is around 59%. Senegal has 88%, 64% for the urban population, and 38% for rural inhabitants. Ghana has 86.6% access to electricity, 93% for urban residents, and 50% for rural residents. South Africa has about 66% access to electricity for rural populations and 93% for the urban populations. When you move to other countries, the situation is worse. Uganda, for instance, has as low as 10% access to electricity for people who live in the rural areas. The total access is way below 50%. Cameroon has about 64% access. And even those who have the access, it now trickles down. If you have subscription to the public system, you get the electricity, and that alone still stands at 38%. Now, when you look at the sub-regions in Africa as a whole, if you look at West Africa, access to electricity is 52%. South Africa's, the Southern Africa region has around 48%. East Africa has about 37%, and Central Africa has about 27% access to electricity. That is way bad. Meanwhile, most of these leaders have been in power for decades. All they do is to engage in medical tourism, travel to Dubai, and live expensive lifestyles. Have we ever imagined that the power that we take away from the citizens, the implications on their health? And have you, as a citizen, wondered, whenever the light is taken, its impact on my health? Well, I've already given one impact. For instance, in Ghana, when the power was taken off for 2 hours, people in the hospitals had a 43% increased chance of dying. In South, and these power outages are not just natural. There are issues that have been created. Numerous research has shown that the reasons for the power outages in Africa, one includes non-investment on improving the already built power systems in the countries, poor maintenance, mismanagement, and alleged corruption. As a matter of fact, the boss of ESCOM, the power supplier in South Africa, the router, decried the fact that in a month, South Africa loses 1 billion rand to corruption in Eskom. Meanwhile, the poor South African citizens, taxpaying South African citizens, do not have access to power. You take this power from them. These are tax-paying citizens. You take their taxes, you steal 1 billion rand from them every month, and on top of that, you take the power away from them. Well, dear politician, well, dear energy manager, whose intention is to just sit in your office and embezzle funds and switch the light on and off. Let me educate you today. When you take the power out, or you take the power away from the people, its impact on the individual's health is one. It has a serious impact on the cold storage system of the hospitals. And when I mean cold storage system, some medicines need to be stored under certain temperatures. Vaccines need to be stored under certain temperature. Blood and blood products need to be stored under certain conditions so that they can maintain efficiency, effectiveness, and safety. You can imagine when you keep on switching off the light and the fluctuations come. Most of these vaccines are going to lose their potency. The blood products are not going to be efficient enough. And some of these drugs are not going to work properly. And even the refrigerators that are supposed to keep these drugs cold or the right temperature, they can get damaged. And even our mortuary systems, whenever you take the light away, it facilitates the decomposition of the bodies at the morgue. And once these bodies decompose, it spreads infectious diseases. Loved ones are not able to prepare themselves to give a befitting burial to their relatives. And the list goes on. So, dear electricity worker, have you seen one reason why you don't have to take out the light? Let me educate you again. Dear Minister of Energy, politician, or whoever that is in charge of the light, whenever you take the light out, you are indirectly going to spread diseases because one, power is needed to treat the sewage systems in the country. Power is needed to treat water that will be distributed to the homes in the country. No wonder in Africa we have a lot of diseases like typhoid. And thank God, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has instituted the WASH program, water, sanitation, and hygiene. Because the rate at which Africans suffer from typhoid fever, paratyphoid fever, and other gastrointestinal diseases is alarming. And that is because the water systems are not treated properly. And you can't blame the water companies because if they don't have lights, how do they treat the water system? And some facilities that even have generators, the generators cannot power the treatment of this water system. So you see the water system that flow into people's homes are filled with so many bacteria. The sewage systems from the hospitals, these are supposed to be processed. Once there are no light, how do they treat the sewage? It's just put into a system and it affects the health of the citizens. They inhale a lot of stuff in. and they can develop a lot of respiratory illnesses. Dear energy worker, now do you see the point from which I'm coming from? I'm not condemning you. I'm only trying to put it to you and point it to you that this is what happens when you take the light out. Do you know that light is important to conduct surgeries? Proper lighting is needed to conduct deliveries. Proper lighting is needed to walk the hallway of the corridors in the hospitals. Some people go to the hospitals for eye surgery. They need proper lighting. We have the elderly who stay in the hospital. They need proper lighting. Doctors need proper lighting to use equipment efficiently. When you take the light out, people are forced to use lanterns, torchlights to conduct deliveries. And even hospitals that have the generators to conduct these deliveries and to conduct the activities. These generators do not run on water. These generators need to be fueled. And the fuel they buy, the diesel, is expensive. And maintenance is another problem. So you see how the system goes. So at the end of the day, the internally generated funds from these hospitals are used to feed these generators. So the hospitals run at a loss and they can provide better care for people who come to seek medical services. Dear energy aspect, Ghana Electricity Company, ESCOM, NEPA worker, those who manage the Karuma Dam in Uganda. You see, if you are not aware of this, I'm putting it before you. And these are things that affect the mental health of the citizens. When you take the light out, you impact so many areas of the healthcare system. Even when you take the light out, the mental health of the citizens is affected because, one, they don't have anything to entertain themselves with. We're in the age of social media, with the age of advanced technology. People need to go to YouTube to watch someone like me. People need to go to YouTube to watch funny stuff to release stress. People need to watch television. People need to have light. You take away their fun. You take away what is supposed to relieve them of their stress, because already the countries have put the citizens under stress. So that is the only way you can help them release stress. And you take the light away from them. Abba, please, if you are not aware, I'm here to tell you today, ESCOM worker, electricity worker, NETCO, VRA, NEPA worker, when next you think of taking out light, yes, you take out light for maintenance purposes. Yeah, it's good. But take all the measures. I remember in Ghana, the time we had serious lightning issues, they were citing situations like the Volta River Authority, the water level is low, so they have to keep rationing. And this year you had to open the dam for water to flood communities. The health effect of that, we're going to come to that later. But how visionless are you guys that all these years you've not found a way to stop part of this water? I know In Canada, US, sometimes they do open dams and then the water flow, but they know where they open it to. So when they need it, they open it back. Why do you have to open water into the communities to flood people? When you previously complained that the water level at the dam was low. So what are you guys doing there? So visionless. Well, I'm not here to attack anyone, but just to put the issues bare, lay them bare to you, and let you know you must set up. A word to the wise is enough, as they say. Thank you so much for listening to my channel. Once again, the name is Mandela, and this is Mandela Unveiled. If you like our channel, make sure to subscribe, share our videos, like, and hit the notification button. Give us a comment. Tell us what interests you, and we will dissect it. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Bye.